weapons were evolved to keep us from being eaten by nearby hungry competitors. It is not a tool for philosophy. Philosophy comes later. And I think that what the UFO community and what the psychedelic community share is a tremendous impatience with scientism and the fascism of scientism. And the way to overcome these things is to simply opt out of the historical game and avail yourselves of the shamanic tools which have always been there. The whisperings from the other dimension are probably 1,000 millennia old. That's 1,000,000 years. That's the time that we have been sitting around campfires, spinning yarns for each other, and looking up at the night sky. We are not alone on this planet, but it may be that we are the late evolving intelligence. The mushroom said to me once, I said, "What are you doing here?" It said, "You're a mushroom, you live cheap." I said, but it said it was not such a bad neighborhood till the monkeys went berserk, and that was only yesterday. So you see, it isn't that they're coming to us from the stars. It's that we are finally having the scales fall from our eyes to realize what it means to be on a water-heavy, oxygen-rich planet with over 2.5 billion years of biological history already neatly tucked under the belt. I mean, the peculiarities and singularities that have been built into our circumstance, I believe, would literally stand our hair on end. And the only way to make your way through this morass of claim and counterclaim is do not move your faith an iota beyond your own direct experience. If you haven't seen a UFO, believe no one, no photograph, no testimony, no nothing, because everything is contaminated. Forget UFOs, take Mount Everest. Have you seen it? Then for you it doesn't exist. I saw it. It couldn't possibly be the world's largest mountain. I could hold it between this finger and this finger. So, then if you limit yourself to direct experience, does that mean that you're shit out of luck? No. It means that you have arrived at the beginning of the real path toward the saucer. Because you don't want to hear that Whitley Strieber or Bud Hopkins walked in through the purple doorway and was never seen again. You want to be the person to walk through the purple doorway and never be seen again. Well, I guarantee you it's more easily done than you might wish to suppose. But you're going to have to avail yourself of the shamanic technology, which is a super technology, of the shamanic technology that we inherit from the archaic civilizations. Not everybody fell into physics worship and materialism. The rainforest cultures, the Aboriginal cultures have kept the channel open while we dithered and mucked about in the historical process, materialism, scientism, positivism, you name it. But the doorway lies open. The problem is it requires an act of courage, real courage, because it's real. It's absolutely real. But the sine qua non is the psychedelic molecule. It was designed this way. It isn't that it's impossible to encounter these things in any other fashion, but it's impossible to coherently encounter them in any other fashion, because that's the part that is obtruding into the social sphere, and that's the area where contention, control, informational viruses, disinformation, false testimony, hidden agendas are totally corrupting of the phenomenon. But you can get it down to you and it if you will simply avail yourself of the psychedelic tools that nature created and that shamanism places at our disposal. That's where the frontier of this hyper-technical fantasy is headed, toward a revivification of knowledge systems that were ancient when the pyramids were not yet even a gleam in the eye. Questions? Thank you very much. Thank you. It's lots of fun. You have no idea how much fun this is. Yeah.
I have two questions. One, are you aware of any psychedelics being used in ancient Greece around the time of Plato or Aristotle?
Sure. You should read The Road to Eleusis by Wasson and Hoffman that argues very persuasively that an LSD-like alkaloid lay behind the Eleusinian mysteries. That was the great mystery religion that inspired all of the movers and shakers of the Hellenistic world. And your second question?
Yeah, my second was, would you comment on the connection between serotonin and psilocybin?
Good question. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that occurs in almost all life. It occurs from flatworms to human beings. And interestingly, as you ascend the phylogeny, there is more and more serotonin. More in mammals than in any other major order of animals, more in primates than in any other kind of mammal, and more in man than in any other primate. Serotonin is 5-hydroxytryptamine. Psilocybin, 4-phosphoryloxy, and then DMT, although it must be said that the phosphorus group is clipped off almost immediately and it becomes psilocin, 4-hydroxy, and then dimethyltryptamine. I believe that on one level what's happening is that there is a kind of evolutionary competition going on. Obviously, some neurotransmitters are more efficient than others. And it may be that we are only a 1 or 2 gene mutation away from a swapping out of serotonin for some more efficient, whatever that might mean, neurotransmitter. Now, romantically, wouldn't it be nice if psilocybin were it? I suspect it isn't, because psilocybin is not known to be elaborated in the tissue of any higher animal. But what's a good candidate is there is an enzyme in the pineal gland called adenosine that chemically analyzed turns out to be harmaline. It's a beta-carboline. It's 4-hydroxytetrahydroharmalan. These harmine molecules are part of the mystery, incredibly bioelectronically active, with a structure that assimilates to the Ajna chakra, and they are the molecules which are a part of the ayahuasca brew. I think we're on the brink of a tremendous evolutionary